All right, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, so this is going to be part 3 of Godfrey Higgins' Anacalypsis Volume 1. I got the book right here. It got a lot of tabs on it that I want to go through. As you can see, it's a lot of tabs. Most people know what I like to do is I like to share what I've actually read. I don't care about who's right, who's wrong. I mean, I do in a sense. But my arguments aren't about who's right and who's wrong. My arguments are about, hey, where did you read that from? Where did you learn that from? And what I like to do is I like to take what I've learned, what I've read, and I like to share it. I don't care about, being the number one person or being the person that is going to hit the mainstream or this, that, and the third, because all this information is already out there. Everything that I do is literally what is open to the public. Okay. I don't have the Vatican secrets type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I have the stuff that's available to the general public. And like I said, that's why I pick up books like Godfrey Higgins that wrote these books in 1736, I believe it was. I can never get the dates right. I know he started around 1733, 74, 34, or something like that. I'm not sure, but Godfrey Higgins, Anacalypsis Volume 1, an attempt to draw aside the veil of the Saitic ISIS, or an inquiry into the origin of languages, nations, and religions. Now, like I said, all these tabs that I have is what I'm reading. It's what I've learned. I don't care, like I said, about being right or wrong. I can't determine that. I don't, for one, I'm not an expert in any language, even English. When I'm speaking right now, I am nowhere near an expert. You know what I'm saying? Not even close. I can speak it. I understand it. I can translate it to people, using hand gestures, so on and so forth. But being an expert, I'm not an expert. You know what I'm saying? And there's my definition of expert for things is different than others. But let's go to the first tab, and it's what's up? It's 420, page 420, baby. Y'all know what it is. Y'all hope y'all got your minds right before y'all join. I know I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you guys want me to do this more often, if you want me to have a time frame to do this without just doing it whenever I feel like it, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Say, hey, I'm available from this time to this time. Can you do your lives from this? I'm trying to get to the people who are truckers, who are driving on the road all the time, who are movers, who are moving parts from one place to another, people who are security guards, who are sitting at security. A lot of these individuals don't have time to go do the research that I am available to do, right? They're out there doing things, moving things for us here on this planet, trading and so on and so forth. And they deserve to have this type of knowledge. Well, if you go to my Twitter account, if you go to my YouTube account, you go to my website, rebirthoftheword.com, you go to any of the stuff that I have personally. You look up Rebirth of the Word. You look at that green. You see the little green on there? You see anything on there? You see my picture, my face? I know there's AI and all this other stuff that's going on, but you could talk to me personally. I am not one of these type of people who will go out there, get to the point where I cannot discuss things with people who were in the same position that I am, meaning that the position of just sharing what I've learned. I have found my purpose on earth, and that's just sharing what I've learned. I have the opportunity to read so much that, I can give it to you. How many people do you know can literally say, hey, I read this book, and this is the stuff that I've learned from reading this book? How many people can flex like that? Let's get to the new generation. I'm 41 years old. I can get with the lingo. How many people do you know can do what I do? How many people do you know can sit there and say, hey, I might not be 100% accurate. I might not be 100% knowing, but I can tell you where I've read it at. I might not be 100% knowing, but I can tell you where I've read it at. You know what I'm saying? So look. Let's put it like this. If somebody says, hey, Rebirth, or Tyrone, or Michael, or yo, brother, or L, or yo, hey, man, I know this dude, or whatever you want to call me. If you come up to me and say, hey, what have you learned about this, that, and the third? And I would say, what book can I say that gave me the most information on it? Not excluding other books, but what helped me the most, right? What helped me the most, right? I would say, okay, and this is just an example. Just listen to me. This is just an example. I would say, hey, let me go get Godfrey Higgins books. Let me get Anacalypsis V1 because it talks a lot about this. And I come up to you and I say, hey, bro, you got a couple of hours to talk? And you're like, man, hell yeah, I got time to talk. And I'd be like, look, this is what I know. How many people can you say that instead of just telling you, hey, I read this from reading this author in this book and blah, blah, blah. But can you go to that author and book and show us what you read? Or are you just telling us what you interpreted at that time? Let's get on to this knowledge. Yo, Marco, 420, brother, you know what it is. Hey, spit that knowledge like it always. Hey, if you in the Liberty County area in Hinesville, Georgia, if you need your vehicle worked on, ATVs, boats, anything, my man Marco 420, if you need more information, he definitely has the knowledge and do that. I support him. He's went through the schooling. He is absolutely, honestly, the best that I can say when it comes to doing what he does when it comes to fixing engines and stuff like that for boats, ATVs, four-wheelers, and so on and so forth. But let's go ahead and jump into the first tab. It says, he says, I have read that the Afghans are Copts, C-O-P-T-S, of the race of the pharaohs, and that when the prophet Moses got the better of the infidel who was overwhelmed in the Red Sea, many of the Copts became converts to the Jewish faith, but others, stubborn and self-willed, refusing to embrace the true faith, living their country, came to India and eventually settled in the Suleimani Mountains, where they bore the name Afghans. Now, I have spent time both in Iraq and Afghanistan as a U.S. military soldier. Let's see if I do this right. Boom! That's where I was at, Fort Benning, Georgia, and I did my AIT at Fort Rucker, Alabama. So I was aviation. So when it comes to UFOs and aircraft and so on and so forth, best believe I got my expertise in that. I'm also a Purple Heart veteran. I was wounded in combat in Afghanistan in 2012, July of 23, July 23rd, 2012. So I know about Afghans and Afghanistan people, and I know about their skin tone and what they believe, because I also have a copy of the Quran and so on and so forth. After I was wounded in combat, I have a brain injury, which causes my speech impediment or speech delay, or not speech delay, finding words, basically. I just have a brain injury. So that's why I like to read from what I've actually learned. I don't want to put it in my own words, because I know because of my brain injury and being wounded in combat, I can mix words. But if I read it, I'm not mixing any words. I'm telling you what it is. And if you want my personal opinion, I'm going to give that to you. So we're going to move to the second tab. Arabia means Western country. Let me say that again. 17. Let me make sure, because I always have to make sure every time I do this, I always have to make sure. And I'm pretty sure it was 1736. Hold up. You know what? Let me just hold on. Godfrey Higgins. Anacalypsis V1. Let's see. When does it say? Let's see when it says I hit VQ by instead of V1. My bad. Archive.org. Oh man, look here. Hey, hold up. You know what? So people don't think that I'm lying, because I like to bring facts to the table. And I don't give a damn about what anybody says. But look, here we go. This is right here, Anacalypsis, or An Inquiry into the Origin. This is the book that I says you can go into archive.1, publication date 1836. Look, hold up. I'm gonna bring it to you like that, because I don't like to fake nothing. I like to bring the knowledge, and I like to bring the history, and I actually like to bring what I have learned. So this is the book right here. You can get it from archive.org. There's the tab. You can see all this stuff right here. Anacalypsis V1, 1836. Godfrey Higgins. All right. So you can do all what you want to do. You don't have to worry about me faking the phone. So it's 8. Hold on, let me say this again. Let me make sure, because I might be messing up the dates because of that brain injury. Let's go back to it. 1836. Did I say 17? I probably did. I don't know. I messed it up. But look, that's why I like to go back to the actual thing. So that's why this is how I show how I could be mistaken. But this is what, hold up, let's start over. Let me put it like this. Me spending that time in the military, one thing that I always learned was trust but verify. I trust what the person's saying, but I got to verify, because we can all mistake things. We can always mistake things. But if you have the opportunity, just like I have, because if I was mistaken and I said the wrong dates, I mean, things can happen. Slip of the tongue, brain injuries, we don't know. I mean, man, let's forget it. But now I done brought up what my actual knowledge is coming. And this is what I like to do. I like to be like, okay, look, I might have messed up, you know what I'm saying? But 1836 publication date. So that's what it says. So it says right here, Arabia means Western country. So our Western country ideas comes from Arabia. If I was in 1836 and I happened to pick up this book, and this is the only entertainment that I have, because guess what? They didn't have entertainment like internet. They didn't have the Googles. They didn't have the Yahoos. They didn't have the YouTubes and the Spotifys and all this other stuff, but they had books. Now, this is a reprint, of course, but they had books. So if I was to pick up this book in 1836 and I was to read Arabia means Western country, if this name were given to the people of the tribe of Arabi, who were situated on the Indus, Indus, by the Iuda of Oude, they would be very properly called Arabians or Western people. Knowledge is power. That's all I'm sharing is what I've read. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the text. I'm sorry, Godfrey Higgins been dead for a while now, so going to him and asking him what he actually meant would be a waste of time. But guess what? I'm telling you what I've read from his book in 1836. Let's go to the next one. I have been turned into ridicule. Now he's saying he's been ridiculed by a shallow reviewer of his Celtic Druids book. Now, I actually have a book on it, and I did a presentation on that. So you guys already know who I know and what I know about the Celtic Druids. But for having maintained what I have since discovered was taught by Rayleigh and Shuckford, that the Arawat was east of the Caspian Sea. But it has not yet been the fortunate of that work to be reviewed by any person who can ever have read it, except by one really learned writer in North America, in the Americas, peoples, in the Southern Review, number 5, February 1829, printed as Charleston. Now, I just gave y'all some facts. Y'all can do what y'all want to do with it. This hierarch bore the title of divinity, or not Haji, his phenomenon of Dio or Diva, was almost a repetition of his title. And both together, Deontath, I'm going to spell it, Deontath, cannot be better rendered than by Lord God. Now, anybody know what Lord is? You're going to go back to the etymology of Baal, B-A-A-L, okay? When you say Lord, you're just basically saying that. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at what the actual text say. You can't be upset somebody that's telling you what you didn't know, which happens a lot for some reason. A lot of people get mad for me just reading what I've read. How you going to get mad at somebody that reads what they've read? Share what they've read. I'm not telling you what my opinion is. If you want to ask me for my opinion, you definitely best believe, now that I have wrote a book and I have made number one in different categories, at this point, you better cash at me $5 to get my opinion, because when you run with my opinion, you're going to run with my reputation. And when I put my reputation on the line, you're going to pay me for that. I'm just saying, I know it ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna make no big bucks. Like, I ain't worried about it and nothing like that. But let's go ahead to the Jews and Egyptians, blackness of observation of the Jews. Now, this is on page 434 of this book right here. So if you have this book in this version, which is the Kessinger's Legacy reprints, you can argue with me that I read it wrong, but I'm not going to read it wrong because I'm going to read what exactly it says. It says Major Orme, ORME, reckons 84 castes in India, each of which has a physiognomy peculiar to itself. The more civilized tribes, he says, are more commonly in their appearance. The noble order of Brahmins are the fairest and the most commonly. Now, when I look up the definition fairest, there's two ways that this comes up, and I'm telling you two ways that it comes up the most. One is going to be the color white skin. I know a lot of people say that's not what it is, and I agree with you people. Trust me, knowledge is power. Fair also means beautiful skin, so that could mean black or white, brown, green, orange, yellow, purple, whatever you want to say on the rainbow colors. That's what it is, because that's what it could mean. Now, if I pull up the etymology and I have to bust you out on it, don't let me do that. Do your due diligence and research it. But that's what it can mean. But let's go back to what it continues to say. It says the mountaineers most resemble Negroes. Okay? Negroes. Now, I'm mixed with Black, German, and Turkish and so many different things like Japanese, Italian, and so on and so forth. I know a lot of people like, well, I thought you was Hispanic, because the hair, blah, blah, blah. Don't judge a book by its cover. Remember that shit. But let's put it like this. My family, my father, Nigerian, my mother, German and Turkish, and then I don't know where I get all the other stuff from because I haven't asked my parents to do their own due diligence on their DNA and so on and so forth. But I can tell you in the United States of America, sitting in Georgia right now, I would be considered a Negro. I've been called a Negro and a nigger so many different times that it's exhausting. I know that might have hurt some people's emotions and that might have hit you right here. But hey, trust me, I know I got it, right? But the mountaineers most resemble Negroes in the continents and their hair. That's why I pointed out to the hair before I finish. Now, like I said, I don't go back and review this stuff before I do this. All this stuff that is live, this is me doing it in its time. And I'm trying to remember because guess what? I'm trying to refresh my memory. Every live that I've done, I've talked about refreshing my memory, and this is how I do it. The natives of the hill. Let me start over because, try and get kind of excited. You know what I'm saying? The natives of the hilly districts of Bengal and Baja can hardly be distinguished by their features from the modern Ethiopians. Now, when I talk about the Ethiopians, when you read about the text of the Naga Hamadai and so on and so forth, I probably jack that all up because, my mind is going miles a minute. Let me slow down for a second. All this accords very well with his theory, Godfrey Higgins' theory, respecting the Black Buddha. So when people talk about Krishna, Christ, Buddha, and so on and so forth, and the color of their skin, like I said, I just did an article which is going to come out next week on the 3rd, I believe, on next Monday, about what is considered Black. Now, here in the United States of America, I already told you what I am. I'm considered Black. Or I consider myself Black. Now, when somebody sees me from a non-knowledgeable perspective, they could be like, oh, he's Hispanic or he's mixed or this, that. I don't really get mixed. I get mostly Hispanic. I don't get mixed or anything like that. But I'm just telling you, it says right here, page 434, Jews and Egyptians. Okay. Now, most people that understand what Jewish people are, they're not the color of my skin. Now, the knowledgeable people know that the people that are Jewish, the original ones, were the color of my skin. Okay. What do I consider myself? Yes, Black. Why? Because I have also did my due diligence in that research, and that article is going to come out along with the video and so on and so forth. But I'm just telling you that in 1836, where it says right here, where you can see in Anacalypsis V1, Godfrey Higgins, my ancestors wasn't allowed to read these books in 1836. They was too busy slaving over stuff, right? They was over there doing the cotton and so on and so forth, the tobacco, and doing whatever master told them to do, right? So in 1836, Godfrey Higgins, a white British man who was writing about this stuff, my ancestors wasn't allowed to learn about this. Part of my ancestors, right? Like, because, my mom is German from Europe. But I'm just telling you, this is what the type of information and how I come to that information and the knowledge that I get is because I'm trying to understand who I am. This is really all on who I am. So let's go to the next tab. For the truth of the theory which I have advanced, Godfrey Higgins, that the Jews did originally come from India, in addition to the circumstantial evidence I have as proof, as it is possible for records to accord. So let me say this again, and I'm just going to go to the next tab after this because I want you to go do your due diligence and your research. Like I said, I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the actual text. You can go to archive.gov. You can buy the book. You can do it for free. You can do whatever it is you want to do, but the knowledge is out there and I'm giving it to you. Let's read this one more time. For the truth of the theory which I have advanced that the Jews did originally come from India, in addition to the circumstantial evidence I have as good proof as it is possible for written records to afford. I'm sorry, AFFORD. Now, knowledge is power. I can't tell you what it is. Yo, hey, this is what I do. Hey, Ricardo, I appreciate it. Natural. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. If you have a passion for something, go out there and do it. When I first started doing this, rebirthoftheword.com, I did this with one article, and now I have a book on Amazon, hard copy and Kindle Unlimited. That's #1 in many different categories. Do what you can do, be your passionate at what you can do, and just, hey, don't ever take away what you deserve. Hey, now next to the next tab. I now beg my reader to make a visit to Duke's Place or to any settlement of Jews and to look in them in the face and deny, if he can, that they have Oriental black written on them in the clearest characters. Let him look at the long black hair and fine aquiline nose of the handsome Krishnas, and then let him deny, if he can, his likeness to the tribe of Abraham. Now that's what it says. I'm gonna go to the next tab because I ain't trying to break nothing down for you. I'm trying to give you what I've read, what I understand. If you think I'm wrong or something, ask me. And because I know what I know from these tabs, I can go to a library, which is everywhere in this house, basically. I can bring up sources for you to understand more. So let's go back. A few pages back, I said that the Jews were the latest immigrants from India, with one exception, of which I should presently treat. Now, I know a lot of people, when they heard me say that, they was like, oh, shut up, man, you're just crazy, blah, blah, blah. But look, like I said, if you continue to read his information, you can see one exception. It says, I shall now fulfill my promise. The subject to which I alluded was that of the gypsies. Now, a lot of people hate the gypsies. Now, look at this. I'm 1836. This information is coming out. Numbers of persons have retreated of the gypsies, but as yet, nothing has been written respecting them that is quite satisfactory. Now, every time you hear something about the gypsies, you hear something negative. They pickpocketing, they stealing, thieves, this, that, and third, curses. They have movies about it, so on and so forth. But nothing is good about them. Let's tell all the bad about something, but let's not tell about the good. Now, I always talk about this every time. You could do 1,000 things right in your life. Out of those 1,000 things, you're probably going to do 100 of those things wrong. People going to focus on that 100 rather than that 1,000. Now, this is power. Let me keep it going because I don't even give a damn about being in the eyes and the good looking of the people. I'm in the eyes and the good looking of my family, and that's what matters. It is acknowledged by me that by all that they are Oriental origin. I have been told by 2 gentlemen who had returned from India that they understood the language of the gypsies when they spoke it, and that it was the Hindustani. Now they saying the Indus Valley civilization and gypsies got a lot in common. Now, I'm not telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what I've read. This is what I do. I don't give a damn about none of that other stuff. I don't care about, fighting this fight about who's right and who's wrong. I'm just telling you, hey, what about this? What about that? That's what I am. What about this? What about that? I'm the person that's thinking outside the box. I know a lot of people preach that, I've actually been told that I'm a charlatan because I read books. God damn, boy. I swear to God, if I could slap the shit out of some people for saying some stupid shit, I'm telling you, I would do it because that is the most asinine shit. If I'm telling you that I've read something and then I'm telling you that I'm giving you information that I only know best of, and the information that you told me that you got this information from because you said that you read it from this text from this author, but you didn't think that I was going to go pick up that book and read from that author and understand who that author is and what their text and their information came from. Now I'm challenging you because I found something about what that author was trying to perceive and how I caught them up in the lie. Now I'm the bad guy, but let's keep it going. The Jews were originally believed to have peculiar power of extinguishing fire. Let me say that again. Sorry. The Jews were originally believed to have peculiar power of extinguishing fire. This is continued to the gypsies. Now, let me tell you something. When you look at all the ancient texts and you look at God in the ancient Hebrew Bible, it's Septuagint and this, that, and the third, guess what? God is known as fire. Now, I know a lot of people, when they think of fire, they think of the devil and Satan and so on and so forth, but there's no correlation with the devil and the Satan and so on and so forth with fire. Every time that's, I'll squash all that shit right now just saying the burning bush. Why would God present himself in the burning bush? Knowledge of power. Let's keep it going. I'm telling you, when all the curious circumstances which have been developed are considered, an unprejudiced person will, I think, be obliged to admit that the ancient epic poems are oriental allegories, all elusive to the same mythos, and that many of those works which we have accustomed to call histories are but allegorical representations of mythologies of the secret doctrines of which I am in pursuit, and which have been endeavored to be concealed and perpetrated by the use of the elect and the initiated under the veil of history, to which as the first object was the doctrine, mythos, the history in which was sacrificed or made subservient, and that the Herodotus, from being in the first historian, was in fact, as well as in name, the father of history. Hold up, let me get something to drink, because that's a lot to say, boy. Hold up. Yo, shout out to Jarritos. Nah, they ain't sponsoring me. I just like their drinks, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they might sponsor me one day. I don't know. Let's keep it going. But anyway, Herodotus. I've read many of his books. I actually have all his books that's available to the general public on my Kindle. I actually have a Kindle Scribe right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to. Yo, hold up. I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm reading right now. The Gospels, the Gnostic Gospels. So I'm always trying to educate myself and learning something. But Herodotus even talks about how the pyramids were built. But let's go on to something else. The origins of the Sanskrit. Now, let me start over. Man, I gotta slow down sometimes, but I can't because I'd be so excited about sharing what I know. You know what I'm saying? So the origin of the Sanskrit is unknown, which is 100% true, but it's said to have been invented by ancient Riches, and I spell it Richees. It is called Sanskrit or Sanskroton. That is clearly the Sancratum Scriptum. A person called Anapost or Savant, goddess of speech, is said to have made the first grammar. Now, a goddess made the first grammar. Now, some people understand what you call it. What's his name? Thoth. Man, I'm tripping because I'm sorry, man. I need a break. I'm too excited. We're gonna get into the levels of this shit. Let's make sure this shit works. That's it, man.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Come on. Hitting new levels of come on the desert and not on the iron, the rock heavy metal. What? Yeah. Hitting new levels of come on the desert and not on the iron, the rock heavy metal. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Hitting new levels of come on the desert and not on the iron, the rock heavy metal. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Hey. Hitting new levels will come on the bezel, and not on the iron, the rock, heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour, we working on building the whole damn empire. The sounds in the stars, mine is on Mars, nigga like Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't not broke, man, I'm so hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big bang, man, need to go yard. Living high fashion in the last days. I don't give a damn, man, let him eat cake. I don't give a damn what a hater gon' say. Hard to see an ass who got a fool getting paid. Getting revenue every time, make a wave. Bring like the water to it, make it waves. Bring like the water with the game like slaughter. Fully on my mind, live, I'm around high. Laughing to the bank while I'm stacking all these dollars. Getting real high while I'm pulling this lullaby. Putting numbers on the board like it was a high. Praying to the pancake like it was a high. Got the studio doing numbers like a trap out. In the backwoods, been in corners with the strap out. Hitting new levels will come on the bezel. The nine on the iron, the rock, heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour, we working on building a whole damn empire. The signs and the stars, mine is on Mars. Nigga like Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't down broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big payment, need a big vault. Need a big broom shake, make it go boom. Abracadabra, I light up the room. Bury the written, I leave it in tune. Wetting my whistle while humming this tune. Hitting the high notes just like it's flute. Take the mask off, I'ma do what it do. Stacking the stacks like it's Scooby to do. Blowing the day like it's Pepe Le Pew. Up in my whip, got that pew pew pew. Said to me, quick, get that COD2. This time around, disobeying the rules. Writing some new ones and breaking cocoons. Smoking papaya, it look like cartoons. Off of the Zoom while I'm talking on Zoom. Hitting new levels, the chrome on the bezel, the 9 on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grandma the hour. Working on building all them in power. The sounds in the stars, mine is on Mars. Nikola Tesla lighting in bars. Ain't that broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Hitting new levels, the chrome on the bezel, the 9 on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grandma the hour. Working on building a whole them in power. The sounds in the stars, mine is on Mars.
Yeah, damn, this is my favorite song. I ain't even gonna lie. This is my favorite song. Get my mind right.
Come on. See. Got ambitions on my mind and I can't let them go. Gotta stay up on my grind, no more sleeping on the floor. Came up from the pennies, now we stacking nickels in the drawer. On my dresser, yes, I got the pressure building on the low. Hit the joint and then I blow it, now I'm spinning around the globe. Put my name up in the bleachers and my people in the dough. Rappers scared to take a beat, you know I eat them with the flow. I don't need them, I've been scheming with the preacher and the post. Play these demons while I'm eating, no hell, I don't need no poke. Pick a season, now I'm teasing in the bees on the boat. Had to please it cause they sucking all my dogs off on the low. Don't be reaching when you see me, PTSD like pop smoke. Fuck a joke, came up broke, remember sleeping on the floor. Hella broke, hella niggas steady hating on the floor. Now they broke, and I'm packing out arenas with the shows. Blowing Kiefer in the Sutherland, saluting to the soul, yo. Woo. Saluting to the soul, yo. Saluting to the soul, yo. Oh, yes. I do. I can't. Yeah. Got ambitions on my mind and I can't let them go. I've been thinking about these things since a tender age of 4. Would know I would grow to be a father and a goat. Sleeping woke, tipping toeing through the valley of the ghost. Off the coast with my lady going shopping for a boat. Single float, gun the shot like I'm Katie with the post. Through the bras, finishing Mortal Kombat, little bro. Like a boss, I was built to win, shining on the host. Crustle, golden diamonds, stay together on the rope. Getting better every second, been improving on my goals. Been a veteran, I'm moving through the obstacles and hosts. Falling deeper in the dream that's been implanted in my soul. Getting paper, chasing cream and staying meaner with the flow than I ever been. Is heaven sent, I'm rhyming like the Pope. Got the medicine for remedies afflicting on your soul. Going Kiefer in the Sutherland, saluting to the soul, yo. Saluting to the soul, yo. Salute to the soul, yo. Got ambitions in my mind. Can't let them go. Acid. Record. I'm reaching for the stars.
Man, that was beautiful, man. That music right there gets me crunk every time. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Hey, give a shout out to a little vibe. Go to the Spotify. Y'all know him on Twitter, some of y'all. You know, I've been pulling up his Twitter account. You know what I'm saying? I like to promote people. You know what I'm saying? It don't take nothing to show your love for somebody. You know what I'm saying? It don't take nothing to support somebody. You know, all these people out here with this quick money schemes and all this other stuff, you need a sponsor and everything. You base it every time you get a sponsor, you beg for that sponsor. I don't care how you look at it. So stop sitting here playing these games. You know, share this love. If you like the music and you enjoyed it, share. He got a new album coming out. He came out, is coming out available on February 14th, 2025. You know, I'm gonna be jamming it. I'm telling you, look, it doesn't take anything hard to do when you want to support somebody. Okay. Just go out there and do it. Like I said, I know if I need something fixed for my engine, I'm gonna go to Marco. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go right over here to Marco 420. I know who I'm gonna go to. It doesn't take anything to support anybody. I would support somebody's business just as much as I support my own. Why? Because I think we need to help each other. I'm a historian. I love ancient history. I share what I've actually read. I have books to share and show what I've read it from. If you're mad at me, you're mad at the wrong person. You're mad at the person that I've learned from. I'm just telling you that when it's time to debate something and somebody comes at you sideways, I'm that person that's giving you that sideways information before it even comes to you. So you can duck and move and do whatever you want to do. But if you're so ignorant and so pride and you have so much ego that you're like, oh, I don't care what that dude says, then you setting yourself up for failure. I'm not here for the money. I'm here just this. I love this. I love sharing what I've learned. So let's go to the next one. Van Kennedy gives a list of 900 Sanskrit words which are found in Greek, Latin, and Persian, German, and English, and which are thus divided. There are 339 Sanskrit words in Greek, 319 in Latin, 263 in Persian, 163 in German, 251 in English, and 31 common to all of them. From this, he infers that they are deduced from a common origin. But how came the German and English words here? How but because German, i.e., Saxon, from which Old English is chiefly descended, and English are both Hebrew, which Hebrew is Chaldean, and Arabic and Syriac and Pushtu, the language of the Sake, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but it's SACAE. It's just written in a different way here, in SAXAE of North India, as I shall presently prove. Now, all I just said right there, like I said, you can go back and rewind it and listen to it and see what I said. So basically, there's a common origin when it comes to language. The first pictographic script of what a donkey looked like was, okay, that was the pictographic script for a donkey. Somebody later on in language decided to call it what we call now today in English word donkey, and whatever donkey is in your original language. I know there's people who speak multiple languages, and I ain't trying to get with that, but let's go with the corruption of the old works by emendators, though equated by the best intentions possible, is grievously to be deplored. By their emendations, there is not now a single ancient author which can be depended on. But the sacred writings have suffered the most of all till now. They are actually so corrupt that there is no single text of any consequence on which a rational faith can be placed. Now, that was a footnote. So let's see. This is going to the sentence of now, accepts the Sanskrit, we have only known unspoken sacred language in the word, and that it is synagogue Hebrew. That's what it says. Let it be recollected that in the preliminary observations, chapter 1, section 63, I proved that both the ancient Irish and the Hebrew letters had the same meaning of trees. Hold up. I gotta make sure that I'm. Hold up, man. I just needed to make sure that I was being heard when I said that. Listen to me when I say this, okay? The origins of everything. There's a reason. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This is a perfect time to show this. This is a perfect time to show this. There's a reason why my book is called Journey Through the Origins of History. Okay. There's a reason why I got my first 5-star rating. And I didn't do that, y'all. I didn't do that. I don't know who did that. They didn't give me a comment or anything. And it doesn't show it on here. But look, if I was to hit this, and if I was on my phone, it would have bestsellers and prehistory, and it would have next to it new releases. On the new releases, it would say that it was number 1. Depending on the time now, I could probably change by now. But the point is, I'm a nobody that's in these categories, and I made number 1. I presented that plenty of times that I made number 1. I'm not number 1 now, of course. It's been about what? It's been since January 17th since I launched. Of course, I'm not number 1, but definitely the first 7 days, I have proof of that. But the point that I'm trying to say is that there's a reason that my book is called Journey Through the Origins of History, because I'm trying to find the origins of what has actually been said. Now, let's go back to that there is no single text of any consequence on which a rational faith can be placed. Okay. Now, like when I was talking about the pictographic scripts, I know when it comes to how to tell a story, you would start that with a pictographic script, because that's what people started things with when I was talking about the donkey and so on. So, this is a great time for me to tell you, about my book, Journey Through the Origins of History. There's definitely gonna be more books coming. This picture means a lot to me because this is a representation of me trying to find the truth. These are actually books right here. Okay, these are actually books that I own, and I picked these specific books for a specific reason. I've already talked about it before, but basically the red ones are the life of Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. Then I got Anacalypsis V1 of books. Then I have so on and so forth, books that I like to get into later and so on and so forth. But the point is that I actually wrote a book because I wanted to share what I've learned, and I can't do nothing but share what I learned. So let it be recollected that in the preliminary observations, chapter 1, section 63, I proved that both the ancient Irish and the Hebrew letters had the same meaning of trees. Now let me continue on that. I think there can be no doubt that when the Brahmins made their fine Sanskrit, they generally retained the proper names, only writing them in the Sanskrit letter. This accounts for many times. I'm sorry, let me start that over. Apologize. This accounts for many names being only part of the Sanskrit. For instance, Mahabharata, that is Mahabharata, and it says great creator. Brat being the noun of the Hebrew verb bra, to create or form. Then the wars of the Mahabharata will be the wars of the great creator, or of God, or as we should say, holy wars. Now, I'm telling you, if you sit on the sideline and you need some background noise, and you're tired of going to these X spaces and these Twitter spaces, and you're tired of hearing gibberish and people saying, this is my opinion, this is what I think, ain't did a damn due diligence and a research or nothing, and you want somebody who's actually bringing what I just said, what I just shared to you, if you think this is important, I'm telling you, if you like history, this is the place to be. I'm telling you, I'm going through every library book that I've owned, okay, or read. I will go to the library because I can't buy every single book in the world. I'm not the richest man in the world. I'm poor, like Billy Carson says. I'm poor, yo. Yo, shout out to Billy Carson. I'm just bullshitting with you, man. I let all that bullshit go. But anyway, I'm poor, right? I don't have the money to buy every single book, so I have to go to the library, rent books, or like I was showing y'all earlier, I go to archive.gov. I have a Kindle Scribe where I can get books for free because I have a subscription, which I'm allowed, it's much cheaper to have that way. But I'm just sharing what I've learned. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm a comedian sometimes. Anyway, the inhabitants upon the Indus are in their looks and appearance not unlike the Ethiopians. Those upon the southern coast resemble them the most, for they are very black, and their hair is also black. But they are not so flat nosed, nor have they woolly hair. They who are not who okay, let me say this again. They who are more to the north have greater resemblance to the Egyptians. I learned from travelers that the Afghans have black hair and a dark Jewish cast of continents. Now, let me tell you something. The Sumerians are known as the black-headed people. Now, my next article is going to talk more about that. But let me just tell you this. My next article is going to get into more about the black and this, that, and the third. And I can tell you, being in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and being a combat wounded veteran, Purple Heart recipient, I definitely have experience and knowledge in this. And I was also in aviation, and that's why I have a love for UFOs and so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of people don't like to take me serious because my wording and my speak is very harsh, and I don't give a damn. I don't care about none of that. I cannot. If you watch Rambo, then what I say shouldn't hurt. If you watch Sex in the City, then the words that I say should not hurt you. Okay? So I'm just understand what I just said, okay? Nothing I should say hurt you, right? I'm just giving you what I said. But Diodorus Siculus says that the rites in Egypt and Ethiopia had a great resemblance, so as to be nearly the same. But they were also similar to the Indian, the priests in which they were recluse and given to celibacy. Now I bring this up because the Dravidians are also individuals that look just like certain individuals in Ethiopia. Now, I bring this up because guess what? Africa is the most genetically diverse continent on this planet that we know of, right? According to what science says. Now, I've been told that I'm an Afrocentric guy and I want everything to be black. My mama's white, yo. Shut the hell up. I don't want everything to be black. I just want to know what is the truth. That's why I had a discussion with Dr. Keith Chang about SLC 2485, because I'm about seeking knowledge. I ain't about preaching my opinion. If I was to sit up here and share my opinion, I'd probably be just as rich as what Billy Carson would call me as poor. I'd probably be on his level, but I wouldn't be doing it. And I'm not trying to shun that dude. I'm just telling you that if I was to sit here and sell bullshit, I could probably get a lot of more bullshit people to follow me. Most people don't find this entertaining because they're like, shit, I already know this. What does it matter? You know, it doesn't strike an accord with them. It doesn't strike any interest in them because it's something they already knew. This is not entertaining to them. And that's why I say entertaining is good. But I don't give a damn. Journey through the origins of history. Caught my book. It's good. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going. Dionysus was the most ancient. Plutarch tells us that Phylarchus said that Bacchus first brought the worship of the two bulls called Apis and Osiris from India into Egypt. So I've actually had a discussion with Bruce Fenton. He recently blocked me because I think he's a dumbass. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because he thinks that basically, you know what? I wish somebody would get both of us on the podcast so I could explain to you exactly why I think he's a dumbass. But anyway, I'm just going to tell you this. In 1836, my ancestors wasn't able to read this book. So when I read stuff like this and I share it and you tell me I'm wrong, how can you tell me I'm wrong? Because you found the bone that's found in Spain, in all places, that's just a jawbone. Don't have no DNA, no other bones, no nothing. Okay? And if you look at Africa and where Spain is, being on a boat and going under the side of the land is not hard to do. And I even caught this dude, and the reason why I tell you why he blocked me in the first place, he blocked me because he put up a post a while ago talking about a bone being found in Europe that goes back, like, I can't remember, like way past what he thinks is modern humans. And because he was so quick to share something without doing his due diligence, all I had to do was just type in that place and say, where is this place at? And it said it was in Turkey. So it wasn't in Europe, it was in Mesopotamia. And this fool came back and said, don't get mad at me, get mad at the author and tell them to change their stuff. No, you fucking idiot. You posted it and shared it and said that this was the oldest. You basically said and tried to verify that, try to say that this information was correct, but didn't do your due diligence. Then that's why my words hurt so much, because I will call you an idiot. If all I had to do was take 5 seconds of my time, copy, paste, type it in, say where this place was at, and find out that it was not Europe, that it was actually Mesopotamia, and when your whole theory is that these individuals aren't black, well, because you're on that side of the world and you don't know what the definition and understanding of black is, and that's why I wrote an article on it, because I want to give an understanding on it, then you need to shut the hell up. Stop being idiots. But I'm telling you, that's why my words hurt people, because I will call you an idiot. I don't have time to play any games. I know what I'm talking about. Prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep going to the next one. My philanthropic and excellent friend Colonel Todd, in his introduction to history of Rajasthan, has spoken of the familiar dialects which are formed from the Sanskrit. Now, the Sanskrit having never been a vernacular dialect anywhere, and having been confined, at least while its professors had authority, that is, to the Mohammedan invasion to the highest classes, if not to the Brahmins alone. Now, that's just interesting. I don't know why I tapped that up, but that's pretty interesting. Let's see. Probably got to read that whole chapter. I don't know. Let's go to the next one, though. This is rather confusedly written. Here is what I might expect. Not the perfected Sanskrit found to be the same as the Hebrew and Arabic, but the Hindustani, the vulgar language, one of the broken dialects on which the Sanskrit was built, identical with them. But what is learned, Professor Houghton doing at this moment, printing a Sanskrit and Hindustani dictionary as one into English, like Parkhurst, Chaldee, and Hebrew and English lexicon. Now, linguistics would know about that. I read a book on Oxford's Persian language, and man, I learned a lot about that. But let's keep it going. Who is the Oxyon crucified, but the second person of the Hindu Trinity called Oxaria? Now it's Ixion, which is who is the Ixion, Oxyon crucified, but the second person of the Hindu Trinity called Ixora. Now a lot of people know that this could be in also with the Phoenix, but here let's go with this. In both Grecian and Hindu histories, this mystical queen Semiramis is said to have fought a battle on the bank of the Indus with a king called Starbatus, in which she was defeated and from which she flew away from in the form of a dove. On this, Nimrod says the name of Starbatus, the king of whom Semiramis was finally overpowered, alludes to the cross on which she perished. Now, the cross means X marks the spot. Let's keep it going. The Menahide, or the priest of the Menes, were said to have been changed into doves because, says Mr. Bryant, they were Ineum. Now, that's pretty interesting, because here is a remarkable proof of the ignorance of the Greeks. They found that the priest to be Ionium, that is the Hebrew plural of Ioni, I-O-N-I, or the followers of the Ioni, which had the meaning of dove, as we have seen. Now remember, there was doves released many times in the world. We will now inquire into the origin of the Amazons. Among the ancients, many persons thought that the book of Genesis meant to describe the man and woman as at first created, to have been one and an androgynous being. It is there said that God created man in his own image, and prior to the creation of woman, created he him, male and female created be he them. Pronouns, y'all. Many persons, pronouns in 1836. Ha ha ha. Many persons formerly believed that the first man and woman were united in one body. Mr. Faber observes that his construction put upon the passage, God created man in his own image, in the image of God created he, him, male and female, created them, was adopted by some of the most learned rabbis, whose names he gives at full length, who maintain that the word rendered rib means side. This, we shall find, has an evident tendency to prove that the mythos, as Dr. Geddes calls it, of Moses, is in reality the same as the mythos of the Hindus, ancient Egyptians, Sumerians, Greeks, Norse mythology, and so on and so forth, along with the ancient Hindu Valley civilization, are all one and the same. And that's how it comes up to what it's been. Now, this is not me saying that. This is just what I've read. Like I said, don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger. After these people came, the Amazons and Cyclops, who invented arithmetic and perhaps letters, who worshipped upon the tops of mountains in stone circles, which they invented, in which they erected in accordance with the fine cycles in which in those buildings, clearly proved that their fabricators were acquainted. They were the race supposed by M. Bailey to have been highly civilized. These people may have flourished for 1,000 or 1,500 years before the sun entered Aries. They were Negroes, y'all. Now, 1836, my people wasn't able to read this. My ancient, ancient, my ancestors wasn't able to read this. But to see here and to hear and to read in 2025, okay, they were the race opposed. Those building clearly proved that the fabricators were acquainted. They were the race opposed by May M. Bailey to have been highly civilized. They were, these people may have flourished for 1,000 or 1,500 years before the sun of entered Aries. They were Negroes, okay? How am I Afrocentric in anything if I'm just telling you what I've read? I'm going through every book in my library. Prove me wrong, people. I know the right people that's listening don't give a damn. That's why there's 183 people listening. And I'm going to tell you, it says they were Buddhist, okay? By degrees adopting the linga and yoni as emblems and protecting Cobra. The first book of Genesis, the Rasid or Book of Wisdom, is probably a work of these people. It contains enough proof to prove that its authors possess great science and a knowledge of the nature of the world and natural philosophy. So in 1836, Godfrey Higgins was saying Negroes were intelligent beings while they was picking cotton in certain places. Let's keep it going. Dr. Clark supposes that the Cyclopean style to have been cradled in the cave of India. The Cyclopean gallery at Tyrannus is curious on account of the Lancret arch, which is common in very old buildings in India. Let's keep it going. Boom, boom, boom. Winckelmann, in his monumental Antiquita in Edetta, observes that in the earliest periods that the Cyclops were represented with two natural eyes. Now, a lot of people, when they see and hear think about Cyclops, what do they say? Boom, one eye and one eye in the middle, right? 1836, my man Godfrey Higgins actually says, Winckelmann in his monumental Antiquita in Edita observes that in the earliest periods, the Cyclops were represented with two natural eyes and a third in the middle of the forehead. Now, what is in the middle of the third eye? The third eye that most people call the pineal gland. That's where we get meditation and get all this other stuff from. Now, let me clear my throat. God damn, that's crazy, right? Think about that for a second. Most people know Cyclops with just one eye in the middle, but it's naturally to know them as two eyes with a third eye in the middle, meaning that they have some kind of idea with meditation. Now let's keep it going. This seems to connect them with Jupiter, who before the Trojan War was Trioptolemus, Trilocon, and this again with the Hindu gods, some of whom are described in pictures in the cabinet of the Asiatic Society with 3 eyes. Boom, 3 eyes. Hold up, I gotta make sure that I'm still making sure that this audio is right because like I said, I don't have nobody else to tell me, and this is just crazy because if I just missed all that, then dang, yo, I can hear it. Look, hold up. This audio is right because like I said, I don't have nobody else to tell me. Dang, see, I'm just trying to make sure that what I said is getting through because I ain't trying to repeat this. The passion, the emotions is natural the first time. That's why I like to do these live because I don't want to sit up here and bullshit with anybody. I'm trying to give you the emotion, the raw emotion of what I've learned. I'm telling you what, if I haven't read this, I've read this book 5 different times, and I haven't read it in the last 6 months. So refreshing my memory, and this is why I like to do this, is by showing you guys what I've learned. Okay. Let's kill this shit because there's 187 people in here. Let's keep going. Let's see. Let's keep this going. Let's see. Let's see. Among the attempted explanations of the immense mass of confusion with the ancient mythologies exhibit, there is nothing much less satisfactory than those relating to the rank and character which they ascribe to the moon, as I have before observed in Book 6, Chapter 2, that is of the sun. And if she were barely this, I'm sorry, Chapter 2, let's go back. As I have before observed in Book 6, Chapter 2, to me they are indeed anything but satisfactory. She is represented as Isis, the wife of Osiris. Now that's interesting because that is of the sun, and if she were barely this and nothing more, we might be contented to consider it as merely a nonsensical local superstition or perhaps a figure of speech, but the moon was masculine as well as feminine. The moon is also known as sin. You can find that in ancient Mesopotamia. Here's chapter 8. It says, rivers of same name, Jordan, various rivers called Don, Doncaster, and so on, Philistine. So I guess I have to read this whole chapter, but of course I'm not. So I'm just going to read a little portion of it. It says, a learned friend has observed to the author that in his opinion, all names of rivers and of places have taken their origin from accidental local circumstances, arising in their very early stages of society, that the man, woolly or half savage or instance who happened to ramble to the confluence of the Rhone or Arve would not think of distinguishing the Rhone from Arve by calling one of the river of the sun, but would most likely be one of the Blue River and the other the muddy river, names arising out of the accidental peculiarities that are giving such a name as the sun. Now, I don't know why I found any of that interesting. That's probably, I just gotta read that whole chapter. Let's just keep it going. I got a couple more. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm almost done. Okay, here we go. And I've read this different times, so I don't even have to go into detail about it. But the Greek poet Naucrates accuses Homer of having copied his poem from a book in the library of the god of Pitha at Memphis. It is probable that the poems of Homer existed both in Egypt and India. So this was a footnote for 2. So let me see if I can find 2 and see what it was referencing. I probably already have an idea. It's probably about Iliad. Yeah, here we go. The ancients have said that Homer traveled into Egypt, and the Egyptians asserted that he was born there. No wonder then that he was acquainted with the books of Moses and instructed in the Jewish religion in this country. If the Egyptian pretense be false, it can't, however, be disputed. But this poet lived long as Samos and had correspondence with the Phoenicians for a great while, who had taught him the history of the Jews. Let's see. Where's this? Dang, I did this one twice. Why did I do this one? Okay, Bishop Lawrence has astronomically proved that the Book of Enoch to have been composed between 45 and 50 degrees of north latitude. This is not far from the north of India, Central Asia, the kingdom of Iodia, where I have shown that the first great nation flourished, and where I have placed Shinar, Mesopotamia, also known as Sumer, also known as, guess what, the cradle of civilization. Now, Shinar is known as Sumer. Now, in 1836, I can tell you that Godfrey Higgins didn't know about the Sumerians. But hold on, let me get something to drink real quick. That's because the Sumerians word is probably a new word, right? They didn't call it the Sumerians. They probably called it Sumer, which they also known as Shinar. So indirectly, and yes, he did know about it. I just read it. It must not be supposed that this great nation did not spread over a considerable space of land. I have been accused of ignorance and blundering and placing some are called half a degree. Wrong. Now, let me tell you something. He's basically saying that the Sumerians basically spread their knowledge throughout the world. 1836, if you look up when the Sumerians, when they were actually called the Sumerians and the date and why they were considered the Sumerians, you will see why I said that Godfrey Higgins didn't know who the Sumerians were. They didn't call them that because that's a new word. Instead, they called them Shinar. So yeah, there we go. Sumar, Kumar, Qumran all signify prince. Yeah, exactly. Daniel Hopkins, you're right. And I say that because Godfrey Higgins, this word Sumerians is new. It's a new word that we use. They used Shinar or Sumer. So obviously he knew about them. So he's been talking about this stuff for a while. We got to take our personal feelings and weigh and actually look at what actually history. See, I don't have a college degree in anything. And I read a lot from a lot of people who have these degrees. And if I'm putting their pieces and using them correctly, how can I be wrong? But let's keep it going. The deluge of Noah and Noah himself are distinctly noticed by name, but I think in such a way as to show that it cannot have been copied from the Jewish book. The Trinity is also most distinct. I'm going to say this again. The Trinity is also most distinctly named under the appellations, as Bishop Lawrence translated, of lords, two of whom, together with the Lord of spirits, are said to have been engaged in the formation of the world. Here's again the Oriental doctrine. What words are in the original for Noah and Lord cannot be known from the translation. They may or may not be Menu and Iswara. On the meaning of such words as these, no dependence can be placed on Bishop Lawrence's translation. Now let's keep it going. In several other places, this incarnation is named. He is said to be present with the Ancient of Days, whose head was like white wool. Okay, white wool. This is the description of Jesus. It is said that he shall rise up in kings and hurl mighty ones from their thrones, because they will not praise him or humble themselves before him. He is identified with the Lord of spirits. He is called Wisdom, the elect one, the Messiah. It is said that he shall sit upon a throne of glory and shall judge sinners. And finally, it is said that the saints shall rejoice because the Lord of spirits has executed judgment for the blood of the righteous, which has been shed, alluding to the blood of the elect one. How can this be accounted for? Does the prophet not here allude to the crucified Buddha, Krishna, or Balaji, Balajii? I might have butchered that. Don't beat my head for it. Here we see long before the death of Christ, the righteous blood of the elect one had been shed. At all events, at the death of Christ, the doctrine of the death of the elect one was not new. Now, that's the correlation that I've been talking about when it comes to Christ and Buddha and Krishna and so on and so forth. I shall show that the religious, fear, if you're in here, I'm not sure. Do a quick uh 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 high or something, because this is your part right here. But before we keep it going, I gotta do something real quick because I gotta take a quick break again. Y'all know what I'm saying? Hold on, that's not the one. I just wanna show my my appreciation and my support for Lil Vibe, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna do Gaslit real quick. We're just gonna do Gaslit. Just to, just to keep it clean. I want to finish off the book,
Oh
okay?
shit,
'Cause
man.
this
That's
is
so
good.
dope
This is
though.
good.
This
Yeah,
shit
but
so
this is good.
yeah,
Good.
be lit. Getting too old for this, getting too old for this. Alright. Here we go again, I guess. Catch my flow, catch my flow, yeah. Cooking with the flow like the stove got the gas lit. Coming from the O, blowing O's on the gas lit. Never got it till I went and got it, then I grabbed it. Way I make these sounds turn the sound waves sound like magic. Magic, 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 snap my fingers got the gas lit. Just like Roy Mustang, keep the flame in my hand lit. With the full metal like it was a stay alchemist. Nicholas like Flamel at the stove with the gas lit. Cooking with the flow like the stove got the gas lit. Coming from the O, blowing O's, know the gas lit. Never got it till I went and got it, then I grabbed it. Way I make these sounds turn the sound waves sound like magic. Magic, 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 snap my fingers got the gas lit. Just like Roy Mustang, keep the flame in my hand lit. With the full metal like it was a stay alchemist. Nicholas like Flamel at the stove with the gas lit. Nicholas like Flamel at the stove with the gas lit. Penny for my thoughts, turn the copper to some cabbage. Get into the bag while I'm going through this baggage. Lug around the luggage, got the look that's for the ratchet. Mr. Robot get to clanking like I'm Rami Malek.
I liked it. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely enjoy it every time I hear his music. So let's keep it going. I shall show that the religious of Melchizedek of Jesus. Let me say that again, because I want to make sure everybody heard me. I shall show that the religions of Melchizedek of Jesus and of Pythagoras were the same, in that the celebrated Christian father, Justin the martyr, spoke nothing but the truth when he declared that Socrates was a Christian. I am not the first person who broached this doctrine. 600 years ago, a celebrated and probably all things considered the most learned of all the Christian fathers, Amanias Saccas, taught this doctrine, that all the Gentile religions as well as the Christian were to be illustrated and explained by principles of an universal in philosophy. Now that's interesting. Hold on, let me see something. I just got some messages. So now what I just learned is I can't switch screens when I do the music because it goes in and out. Now that's pretty interesting. Because like I said, I'm just learning how to use all this stuff. But we just gonna keep it going because now that I know that, I won't let that happen again. But here we go. The Papa decrees also issue from the Church of the Sun Lateran. I suspect that this is a mystic and the means secret place, the root of Latin in the Hebrew, secret, joined to the word place of. Now I don't know what that meant. I probably have to read that whole thing again. The first name of Jesus may have been, and it has a weird written here. It has the first, second, and third, and it says the word was used before the H was in use in the language. So I don't know what that means. So basically, that just tells me that Jesus had many different names. There certainly, at first sight, is nothing improbable in deriving the word Christ from the word to anoint, but yet on more consideration, it seems absurd to apply this to Jesus, who certainly could not, with any truth, be called either crowned or annotated if the four gospel histories be correct, as he never was either one or the other. So the next one. The Christians were not called Christians, i.e., Christiani, till the time of St. Ambrose. I suppose this was because they were called Christians in the CHRES. Let me say that again. CHRESTIANS. That's interesting. Let's keep it going. Hold on. Here we go. I'm bringing this up while I'm looking for the next one. Oh, no, this is on this side. Okay. The whole country of Crestonia may be correctly called a Doab or Mesopotamia, as I have just said, formed on the west by the Axius or Oxius, or more largely by the Halicomen, now Iocona, and on the east side by the Nessus, on which stands the city of Nissus, and Nicopolis, which show that the real name of the river. I don't know why I wrote that. I probably have to go back and read all that. In the Arabic language of the Quran, Jesus Christ is called Ishka. Okay. So when people say, oh, the Quran is wrong and this, that, and the third, it's not that it's wrong. You just don't agree with the terminology. But in Arabic of the Quran, Jesus Christ is called Ishka. From this has come the word Laris or Larissa. The word Lar is in fact Lord, a word I shall explain hereafter. The whole name has arisen from the regimen style of the Hebrew, to which in fact the names of almost all cities and proper names are to be attributed. Larissa was the country of the Laresca, the Lord Iska, or the Savior Lord from the Hebrew, Iso, to save. Thus, it became the country called Lariska. We only know the names of the most places from the sacred books of the respective countries, and thus we know their sacred or mythic names. There were no books before the time of Herodotus, which were not merely mythic, although called historical. Yeah, historical. And as there was in universal mythos, we find the universal mythos everywhere showing itself in the names of places. I do not remember one of the gods of the Western world who had not the title of Savior, as Zeus. In the same way, we find most of the gods of India to have the word Aiswara or Aswati attached to their names. For instance, Sawa Aswati or Buddhiswara, I'm probably butchering that, Buddhiswara, which our Indian scholars tell us means Lord. And when applied to the female Sarah, a mere title of honor as lady. This, as I have previously remarked, is nothing but the Hebrew and Greek word for savior. So, lady and savior is the same. He also says that the Rome had a secret name, and that where Rome now standeth was formerly a city called Saturnia, which is the same as the city of Sarastream, called Saturn Ja. Rome was, correctly speaking, the Saturnian kingdom, its capital being placed on Mons Sardinia, afterward called Mons Capitolia. When I find this city of Rome in Saturnia in Italy and Sardinia Rama in India, followed by the two histories of a black infant God born of immaculate conception, crucified and raised from the dead, and both bearing the same name, Christ, Christ. It is impossible not to believe in the identity of the mythos. I'm just telling you what I read, y'all. I merely state facts and leave them to the reader. The word cruise changed from is by no means to a great corruption, as many which have. And when I reconsider what has been said respecting the promontory of Taurus, the Black Krishna, in India, the Black Christ or Crest at Loretta, and so on. In Italy, I cannot help concluding that the Greek, the word of Greece may have, it's a word that's in Greece, Greek. I don't know how to say it, but it says that the word in this word of Greece may increase the number of Mr. Van Kennedy's Sanskrit words in Greek from 300 to 301. Just telling you what I read, y'all. That's all I'm doing. Christ was called Crost by the Ethiopians. Let's say that one more time for people in the back, because they probably ain't heard what I said. But Christ was called Crost, Crost, by the Ethiopians in Book 1, Chapter 4. I have shown that the Ethiopians were a colony from India. So when I was talking about Bruce Fenton and his Into Africa theory, I absolutely understand and truly know what it means to have individuals come into Africa, but the Dravidians and so on and so forth. And it's because I read this book, but things that Bruce Fenton says, I'll tell you, I think he's a dumbass. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. And he doesn't care to understand the truth, because he thinks that. And he called me. He actually told me. He said he didn't call me on the phone, but he called me out. He tried to call me out and say that I was some kind of Afrocentric dude. But I'm just telling you, hey, look, I understand what you're saying, but when you talk about DNA now, you have no argument, right? That's what we're going off of. But anyway, let's just go to this. The Tetragrammaton of the Pythagoreans I have shown in my Celtic Druids was the word Ieue. On this account, they had great reverence for the quadrangle, and is said to correspond to Sirius. The reason of this was because in the secret science, the sacred four represented Jehovah, who was the Logos incarnate. The Sirius was the deity androgynous, the creator from whom abundance and blessings flow. We almost done with this one. Let's get, oh shoot, let's get past one. This, okay, here we go. It has been shown by Bryant that the word Kalida is the same as Colchida. This is, I believe, was the place in South India to which the Argonauts, 52 in number, according to Anacalypsis, were said to have gone in search of the golden fleece of a ram. And Colida, I think I have proved to have been the place whence Abraham came. From To Oriana or Kalida, everyone knows that Abram was said to be a great astrologer. I'm going to say that one more time. Everyone knows that Abram was said to be a great astrologer, and no person at all conversant with the history of the Roman emperors can be ignorant that the Chaldeans from India, now I'm going to say that again, that the Chaldeans from India were their great astrologers or tellers of fortunes. I'm just telling you what I read. Don't be mad at me. If you want to go toe to toe with me, I like to go toe to toe with people. I don't care. Don't get mad at me because I'm telling you what I read. The word Deus for God in the old Latin, everyone knows it makes Dii in its genitive. This is, in fact, Hebrew. The logos is constantly spoken of by Targums, particularly that of by Jerusalem by the term, and it gives you a whole term, the logos of God. Let's keep it going, y'all. We almost there. We almost at the end. We almost at the end. But the circumstance of the promontory of Tammuz being found in India near to the settlement of St. Thomas, Christians of Malabar, as pointed out by Mr. Bryant, at once renders the story of St. Thomas in India doubtful. Then how are these persons called Christians using the Chaldee language to be accounted for, except as I have stated that they were a tribe of Afghans or Iodi or Iodi, Iodi, having the doctrines of a person called Salavahana, of whom I have shall presently treat, or of Bali named before in book 4, chapter 2, section 1, who were made into Christians by the Portuguese by means of a little blundering, a little lying, and by what we know was the case of a good deal of prosecution. I'm about to blow some minds. Hold up. Mic check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. But anyway, let's keep it going. The fact of tribes of black Jews without the Peniach in the Chaldee-speaking country agrees very well with the supports my theory. They were Crescents, as Pliny properly called them. Let's keep it going. On the other side of the Grecian Mountains, where I have formerly pointed out the Argos, the Ionians, the county of Dodona, called by Ritter, as I am told, Bada Bodona, and so on, opposite to the head of the Halicoian, is the town of the Nicaea, and near it, Chrysodios. This is, and it has Greek words for it, the holy. Nicaea is the name of the god of Bacchus or Nisus, or IH, and it has a little E. Yep. That's pretty interesting. I wish I knew how to read those words. Let's keep it going. When I reflect upon the fact that the origin, as well as in great part of meaning of the mythologies, were lost by the Greeks, I am inclined to go back to the East for explanation of the Gaia of Plato and calculate upon his ignorance of his own mythology. I find one of the most holy places of India called Gaia, or Gaya, famous as the birthplace of Buddha. It is in latitude 24, 49, longitude 85. Now, this is Godfrey Higgins giving you latitude and longitudes, y'all. Dang, get on Google Maps and type that in. It appears from the book of history of the Exodus that it was on the leaving of Egypt that Moses changed the object of adoration from Taurus to Aries. It was then that he represented God as having ordered that he should be called IEUE, and it has a difference, spelled different here, and not by his old name of Multimamia, Multimammia. It appears that the change took place on the mountain of Sin, or Nisi, Nisi, or Bacchus, which was evidently its own name before Moses arrived there. The Israelites were punished for adhering to the old worship that of the calf in opposition to the Bashkol lamb, which Moses has substituted, the lamb which taketh away the sins of the world, in place of the bull of calf, which took away the sins of the world. So he was just worshiping the wrong animal. That's all. Come on, man. It is notorious that Nero was thought by, hold up, y'all. We about to do a quick last song representation. I won't change the screen, so it's gonna play all the way through. But I want to play South because I like this one.
Say we ain't done from the South, no. Yeah. Say we ain't done from the South, no. Say we ain't done. No, yeah. Hey, say we ain't done from the South. In your house, fuck your couch. Dave Chappelle, black as hell. Pay me now, wish me well. We ain't done from the South. In your house, fuck your couch. Dave Chappelle, black as hell. Pay me now, wish me well. We ain't done from the South. In your house, fuck your couch. Shut your mouth, fuck your clout. Need our music, blaring loud. And we ain't done from the South. In your house, fuck your couch. Shut your mouth, fuck your clout. Need our music, blaring loud. Man, fuck them JPEGs and them PNGs. I just lost one of my real OGs. I'm faded like it's DMT. I think I'm talking to ET. Somebody call that EMT. We killed this like that DDT. I came up on that WWE and now I'm about that UFC. Yeah, fuck around and you gon' see. Ahoy, matey, I'm away at sea. On the open waters, I've been swimming deep. I've been lurking hard, I've been on the creek. I've been graying hairs, I've been losing sleep. I've been falling out like vasectomies. Got me cooking up with those recipes. Where the Beamer boy got me blessed to see. Yeah. We ain't done from the South. In your house, fuck your couch. Dave Chappelle, black as hell. Pay me now, wish me well. This is central to the comedy like Dante and Inferno. Had to fortify the fortress like we living in Livorno. Hell Livorno, Capricorno, think I'm coded. You could quote it, oh yes, quote it. Like my quota, hit this quota. Okay, hold up, been that Kona. Hold my scrotum, feel like Hova, taking over. Bit cigar, got it paired with Doja and a single mind just like a protozoa. Protozoa, feeling parasitic on the Eva Adam just to get specific. I just Babylon, speaking parables. I'm the richest niggas that was all up in it. Minding all my business and records Guinness. I'm a one of one, you a one of many. I've been going hard, I've been grinding plenty. I've been going off like that late utility. Sweet soliloquy on delivery. Sacking dope boy, yeah, the Pillsbury. Fuck the function at the function, twisted with a short temper and a long memory. Longevity, big energy. Start the day with the prayer serenity. Take the hustle and the flow like I'm Terrence Howard or that John Kennedy. John Kennedy, real conflicted, got me writing poems like it wasn't business. Like I was inspired by the Kona, how to keep the wheel of fire, my damn ninjas. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, like I was inspired by the Kona, how to keep the wheel of fire, my damn ninjas. Yeah. Acid. Punches. Little fire. Focus. Excellent.
Check out a little vibe. Last song for today. We're gonna get back into this because we almost done. So it is notorious that Nero was thought by the Romans to be clearly sacred person or to have opened some sacred period. On this account, he was in more than an unusual manner hated by the Christians who took him in to be the Antichrist. That is another or opposition Christ. The name of Nero, which he bore, looks like the name of Neros. Coincidence, which would never have occurred to me had it not been for the other circumstances. We very often hear of the wickedness of Nero, but we seldom hear of the wickedness of Constantine the Great, who murdered his son, his brother-in-law, his wife, his nephew, underage, and amused himself by making the kings take prisoners in war, fight wild beasts in the circumstances. Now, that's crazy. Now, listen, let me make sure that everything's working correctly, because that the emotions right there was crazy, right? Nero, right? The wickedness, or Neros. Yep, everything's good to go. Now, let me put something out there like this to you. Somebody, let me make sure that I read it right correctly. Somebody who can murder his son is crazy. And I say that because there's an individual in the Bible who was put to the test on murdering their son. And I'll let you go into the details about that. But we're going to go to the next one. Whenever a king is crowned, he is always made to swear that he will support the rights of the church. This is really nothing less than fealty disguised. The Chinese account of the birth of Ayu, their first monarch, hold on. The Chinese account of the birth of Ayu, their first monarch. Mercury or foe, a star, struck his mother while traveling. She conceived and gave to the world Yu, the founder of the first dynasty, which reigned in China. Here we have the same mythos of the Immaculate Conception in China and of the same God, if I mistake not. Now, there's a lot of individuals. Well, I'm not going to say. There's one particular individual named V. I had an opportunity to have a discussion with her about the Shang Dynasty. And there were some things that on there that she couldn't answer. And of course, I know a lot about the Sumerians. And there's actually a book out there that shows the Sumerian and Chinese correlations. And I know that a lot of it was based on pictographs. Well, keep a long story short, she's one of the people that calls me a charlatan because I share what I've learned. Well, like I said, I read what I actually read from books. And as you can see, this is what my interest in talking to her. I actually reached out to her because she said she was an expert and so forth and so on and this, that, and the third. And there were some questions that I had that she couldn't answer. Well, before I even published the videos on my YouTube, she got upset at me because we was in a space one time. And I said, hey, I actually watched our video a few times. At least I watched our video at least 5 or 6 times. Anytime I do a discussion with somebody, I watch our videos at least 5 or 6 times over and over again. I actually watch it more than that because I actually edit it. So when anybody that knows anything about editing, you go back and watch it and over again. But while I'm watching it, I also do my due diligence and my research and go to my library, like I said, and get sources. While I was in an X space with her one time, and I was trying to, give her information and say, hey, look, I learned this, and I remember you saying this, and she would say, well, Russ Kent said that. Well, if you're referencing somebody and you're using them as a source, then I want to know why you're using them as a source. So I basically harped on her, why are you saying this? Based off of him, even though he may be wrong, why are you saying this? Because this is where the information comes from. And she would go on to say, well, you don't speak Chinese and you don't know this and you don't know that. And I was right. And I was like, yeah, you're right. No doubt. You're 100% right. I don't speak Chinese. But if we're going off the pictographic script, what Russ Camp talks about, in which you're presenting right now, if I have a book that has Chinese and Sumerian similarities, and they actually has a book Chinese and Sumerian, I mean, I shared it plenty of times. If I knew I was going to say this, of course I would have it. But I presented it. It's not hard to find. If I'm bringing this information to you and you're telling me that I'm a charlatan and I'm just trying to derail and I need to stop saying this, that, and third, I'm just like, okay, well, obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Because if you knew what you was talking about, then you would take what I'm saying and you would say, hey, let me look more into it. Because all I'm doing is, like I said, when you go to my website, I'm just trying, I have puzzle pieces everywhere. I know where to go for the information. I'm asking you because I do diligently want to do my research and understand what you're saying. So don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself because I'm bringing something that you possibly didn't know. A lot of people don't know that the Sumerians and Chinese pictographic script is one and the same, and that they're very similar on a lot of accords. A lot of people really don't know that. And when I get time to go to that book, because like I said, I'm going through every book in my library, I would definitely present the information. But until then, you can do your own due diligence, or you can just ask me in the comment section, hit me up on X or anything. Hey, I heard you say this on this point on your video and blah, blah, blah. Show me where the source is at. And I'll be happy to show you. You know me. I don't have to lie. But like I said, V, she's one of those people. She's actually mad at me. She calls me a charlatan. Every time my name is brought up on anything, she's like, oh, don't believe that guy. That guy don't know this. Like I said, don't get mad at me. Get mad at the books. I literally have the books. Like nobody can say with confidence that I'm trying to derail or be ignorant or any of that. I literally have what I've learned from reading this book series on my YouTube channel. that I just recently shared. I wrote a book that made #1 in many different categories. I have a website, rebirthoftheword.com. I'm just sharing what I've learned, what I've read. That's it. Ask me my opinion, then use that against me. But that's why I said, if you're going to try to do that, because I know how cutting and pasting and how editing and all this other stuff works with these videos, because I do it too. Not saying that I make anybody look bad, but I know how the editing works and so on and so forth. You're gonna pay me, you're gonna buy me a coffee, you're gonna send me something. You're not about to try to make me look stupid free. You're gonna pay me. And when I see it and it comes to my attention, because I'm definitely gonna tell you right there that I'm gonna use this in my video too. And I have a copy of me saying this. Oh, you best believe, because of the Fair Use Act, I'll be able to show you what was really said. So don't try to play yourself. Let's keep it going. Much nonsense has been written concerning the heroes of antiquity by being converted into gods. But now in the Caesars, I think we may see the real nature of the apotheosis. They were not supposed to be men converted into gods, but incarnations, a portion of the divine spirit. At least this was the real and secret meaning of the apotheosis. Pretty interesting, because like I said, many men have been deified as gods. When God has appeared to man, he is often described as having assumed the appearance of fire. Now, I was just talking about that fire. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking about that. I promise you, I wish man, let me just keep it going. Thus he appeared to Moses in the bush, and thus on the mercy seat in the temple of Jerusalem. Look, man, I was just talking about all that. And I'm telling you, I promise you. When I do this, I go to my library, pick up a book, and I just go through this, because refreshing my memory this is how I remember stuff. This is how I'm able to refresh my memory. That's why when I go into these X spaces and all this other stuff and have discussions, if you truly want to understand the truth, you're going to hit me up. You're going to say, yo, Rebirth is the dude. He got the books. Yo, we're going to have a topic about aliens. Yo, Rebirth, can you get 5 of your top books about aliens? Yo, we're going to have a discussion about flat earth. Yo, Rebirth, can you get 5 of your top books about flat earth? Hey, yo, Rebirth, we're going to have a discussion about gods. Yo, can you give me 5 books about gods? Yo, Rebirth, we're going to have a discussion about rocks and stones. Yo, can you give me 5 books about rocks and stones? Yo, Rebirth, we're going to have a discussion about chakras. Can you give me a discussion? Can you get 5 books about chakras? Yo, Rebirth, yo, we're going to have a discussion about chariots and pottery. Yo, can you get 5 books about chariots and pottery? I'm just telling you. In like manner, we hear nothing of the exploits of Helen, but only of his profound and remotely ancient Kabbalism. Helen, the founder of the Greeks, says Cassiodorus delivered many excellent things concerning the alphabet, describing its composition and virtues in a scathing, subtle narration, and so much that the great importance of letters may be traced to the very beginning of things. Let's keep it going. Bada boom, bada bang, y'all about to hear what the Wu-Tang Clan say. Hey, Genghis Khan was considered a prophet. The Turkish emperors called Khans are also considered to be prophets. This is the Tibetan superstition, hence the Khans of Tartary. Gukchar derives Khan from Ken, K-E-N, in Greek. From this, he derives Diaconus. Now, knowledge is power. I'm just telling you what I'm saying. Yo, if you didn't know, I like Wu-Tang Clan. It's one of my favorite rap groups. Or groups, period. Fish Avatar, Fish Acoustic, Fishes in Italy, Dagon, Jonas, Vishnu, name of Vishnu, Sacred Fishes, Cyclops, Bishop. So this is just all kinds of stuff that let's just go with the tabs. In former times, the lamb was eaten at the Passover. This is still done by many Christians, devotees, but it is not ordered as part of the religion, but the fishes have succeeded and they are now ordered. That is a fast day in which meat is forbidden, but fish is ordered. This is the origin of fish days. Let's keep it going. Let me just do one mic check, because I need to make sure that I ain't sounding stupid. Oh man, I tell you, man, once I figure out how all this stuff works, man. I ain't gonna have to worry about this no more once I figure it out. Okay, Jesus is called by fish. Okay, let me say that again. Rephrase that. Start over. 1, 2, 3. Mic 1. Check. 1, 2, 3. Jesus is called a fish by Augustine, who says he found the purity of Jesus Christ in the word fish, for he is a fish that lives in the midst of waters. Quotes. This was Augustine's most mode of concealing the mystery. Let's keep it going. In the history of Jonas, we have a second notice of the Gentile Hercules, probably in the second incarnation. The story of Jonas swallowed up by the whale near Joppa is nothing but part of the fiction of Hercules of the sun in a passage through the signs of the zodiac described in the Heracleid, or the labors of Hercules, of whom the same story was told and who was swallowed up at the very same place, Joppa, and for the same period of time, 3 days. Like Cophron says that Hercules was 3 nights in the belly of a fish. The son was called Jonah, as appears from Gruder's inscriptions. Bada boom, bada bang. The Syrian god is called Dagon. Now, the fish in which Jonah was preserved was called in the Hebrew, sometimes in the masculine, DG, sometimes in the feminine, according to the rabbis. Now, that's according to the rabbis. The whole of his very long treatise on this subject, in which he has collected and repeated a most surprising mass of nonsense, is itself a most extraordinary mass of confusion. This arises from the seeing marks of similarity between several persons without knowing how to account for them. But he has made sort of a table, unconscious of what he is doing, which will show the reader that Jonah, or Dagon, was a renewed incarnation. So basically, it has Noah, Jonas, and Jesus. Okay, it's first one. It says, in the water, in the water, in the earth. Is preserved, is preserved, is preserved. Now let me show you what I'm showing, what I'm reading, so that way there's no confusion. You see that you see those columns. Hold on, wait, let me see. It's gonna there we go. I knew it was gonna eventually clear out. But that's what I'm reading right there. So you see where those columns at, it says Noah, Jonas, and Jesus. That's where the correlation comes in. It says divine power by divine power by divine power, in his ark, in his dag, in his tomb, in which he was, in which he was, in which he was. One part of a year, one part of a day, one part of a first day. 2, the whole of a second year. 2, the whole of a second day. 2, the whole of a second day. 3, the beginning of a third day. 3, the beginning of a third day. 3, the beginning of a third day. He also shows that this Dagon was the Buddha Narayana, or Buddha, dwelling in the waters of the Hindus. Nara means water. In Hebrew, Nir means river. Ayana is the Hebrew I-E, or God, with the termination ana, making Nara Ayana, God floating on the waters. But the most decisive proof that this Dagon was an incarnation of Pisces is found in figure 31. Blah, 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 blah. Figure 1, I don't have no figures in here, so I'm probably gonna have to get another book to get these figures in here. In the Pentateuch, which is the sacred book of the Israelites, we meet with no Dagon or fish god, but we do meet with it in the book of Judges, where nobody knows when or where or by whom, and which was always held to be the spurious by 10 out of the 12 tribes of the Ayudim. In the earliest time, perhaps, of which we have any history, God the Creator was adored under the form of emblem of a bull. Now, bulls, if you look at the history of bulls, you'll see bulls is highly everywhere. Now, when we talk about agriculture, culture, and so on and so forth, like I said, my next article on rebirthoftheword.com next week on February 3rd, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken, will be about looking up the definition of culture. Now, I want everybody in here, if you're watching, listening, or just mingling in here, look up the definition of culture. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Jesus came to his exaltation or glory on the 25th of March.
the vernal equinox. At that moment, his cousin John was at the autumnal equinox. As Jesus ascended, John descended. Yeah, a lot of people already know that. Here, as Colonel Todd has observed and is very worthy of observation, we have the origin of the Ottoman portent. Did the Ottomans bring this with them from northeastern Tartary, or did they find it among the Arabians? Now, Tartarians, or so on and so forth. A lot of people have a lot of theories about, but we're going to keep it going because we're not going to talk about that. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Wrong side. Here we go. Before I proceed, I must observe that in the prophecy of Daniel and the Apocalypse, a day means a year, and a week, 7 years. In keeping with this, in the Oriental cyclical mythosis, 12,000 years are called a day of Brahm, and 12,000 times 360 equals 4,320,000. Let me say that again. 12,000 times 360 equals 4,320,000 are called a year. So 4,320,000. I'm going to say that again. 4,320,000 are called a year. So when people think 360 days or so on and so forth, or whatever they think there's a year, there's different definitions. That's why when you go to the Sumerian kings list, understanding what they considered a year at that time is important. Don't use what we use today as being considered a year. Okay, you have to use what they considered at that time. Let's keep going. Let's see. Hold up. Let's see some. We're gonna keep this up because I want y'all to go in there and look at little vibe stuff. Let me find the next one. I just wanted to keep his stuff up because I want to show him some shout outs. It is also okay. Here we go. The number 666 is called pseudo prophetical or would be prophetic. It is also called the mark of the beast, the name of the beast, and the name of his name, and the knowledge of it, wisdom. If I had used these words or those words, I should have been said to accommodate the language unfairly to my theory of the first letters being figures. Of this, I shall treat in a future book, which I talked about when I first did this. He didn't have the opportunity to do so, which is sad because I read it in the ancient Hebrew text 666. When 666 is first really mentioned, is mentioned when gold is actually mentioned, and I'll get into that in a different time frame. But almost all the divines now fix upon some year between 600 and 615 for the beginning of Daniel's period of 1260 years. In former times, this period was supposed and rightly supposed to begin with Christ, which makes it in a millennium commence just about the times of the Crusades. So that's pretty interesting. Keep it going. All right, so this is the last two tabs. I believe no disputes that the Greeks had their 16 letters from the Phoenicians or Hebrews. Now it cannot be supposed that they would receive the letters and not the letter numbers, though for various reasons they might not come into common use. In fact, that their system was more convenient, or the Hebrew might be a secret and mystical system. Okay. Last tab of this one is let's see. Actually, that's not a tab that I can do. It just says really right here, it just says Erasmus, Luther, and Calvin, and have belittled esteem for the apocalypse. So let me see. Let me find that's a footnote. So let me see, where's that one at? That was number 2. 1. Let's see. Where's 2 at? That way I can read the whole sentence. Where's it at? All right, 1 is right there. Oh, okay, here we go. The reader will be pleased to observe that this is being a new. Okay, so yeah, okay. So this is a book. Okay, the Evangelium Eternum consisted of 3 books: the Liber Concordi Versatis, i.e., the book of the harmony of the truth, the Apocalypse Nova, or a new revelation, and the Psalterium. Okay, so these are just books. I don't know how to say some of these words, so I just had to go back and buy these books. So yeah, that's Anacalypsis Volume 1 by Godfrey Higgins. As you can see, all I share is what I've read. That's why you see all these tabs. There's a lot of tabs on here, right? That's why it took many parts to do this. I want to make something very clear. Look, if you're serious about getting to the truth, I'm going to tell you I'm probably the best person to come to right now with this, because I'm going to give you sources to you for you to read yourself. Now, if you don't have time to read it, if you ask me questions, I will go back and first look at all the tabs that may be what you're talking about, maybe what you're interested in, right? What you're asking. And if I can't find it, I will most likely go back and read the book, just because I'm curious to understand myself too. But it's not just one book that I go off of. This is just one of the books that I go off. That's why I do a lot. That's why I have my Kindle Scribe right here that you have. That's why I have the Gnostic Gospels on there, because I'm reading this right now. I have books everywhere. So, yo, I appreciate y'all coming in. I'm going to start another one. I do want to say for now and on, I did come to the conclusion that every Monday I am going to do something. Means that I'm going to launch either a pre-recorded video of what I did, and that will always be at 6 a.m. Always be at 6 a.m. And if you wake up and 6 a.m. hasn't came about anywhere from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., between 9 and 10 a.m., I'm going to go live and have a discussion. So every Monday, you're going to get something from me. And if you miss it, when you coming home from work and you're in the car and you're listening and you want to break and stuff like that, and you're just chilling, you can listen to my recording on my YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel and you can listen to the stuff afterwards. So you're always going to have this. I support Lil Vibe. That's why I make sure that he has his stuff up, and I support him. If you're a blogger, a content creator, or somebody that wants to learn how to podcast and get their feet wet and so on and so forth, hey, let me know. Hey, we can talk about this stuff and we can go from there, and do that. I like to do this stuff. I know where it was to be beginning. Like I said, like if you look at this video, Vibe had to tell me a text message, because we do communicate through text message. If I switch the screens on the music part, it won't play through. So I'm learning just like everybody else. Shoot, I ain't go to school for none of this stuff, but because I'm learning, it's my journey, and that's why I have to say that my journey through the origins of history. Y'all take it easy, y'all. I'll catch y'all next time.